Hello everybody, Kyle here. I am here to review the new Planet of the Apes film, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I saw this film about a couple days before it actually released. I saw an advanced screening of it, and I thought it'd be good to give it some time to sink in and wait to seeing how my feelings turned out, about a week or so later. So, in the case of this review, it's a little bit later than I intended it, but I love this film. It's a film that I think really honors the legacy of the Planet of the Apes franchise. I love the Planet of the Apes franchise. I love pretty much all the movies. My least favorite is the Tim Burton one, but I think it is definitely still a entertaining movie. Now, I will say that my favorite Planet of the Apes movies are like Dawn of Planet of the Apes, Rise of Planet of the Apes, the War for Planet of the Apes, of course the Caesar trilogy, but also Escape from the Planet of the Apes, the original Planet of the Apes, Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. So I have a lot of like favorite Planet of the Apes movies, but this one, I will say, it's directed by Wes Ball. It is written by Josh Friedman and stars Owen Teague as the main character of Noah, who is essentially this ape that goes on this journey that takes place many generations after Caesar, the main ape from the last trilogy. And without spoilers or anything, I really loved how the trailers kind of made this film really mysterious in terms of what was going to happen. Now, the final trailer came out and spoiled a ton, but the first two did a great job, to the point where when I was watching the film, I was like, I don't know what's going to happen. And there's something that happens. It's almost like a reversal of what happens in the other Apes movies that I thought was really brilliant, and it involves the human character and the ape's character. I mean, I'll just say it here. Basically, what it is this film is an ape character discovering a human character in the movie. Whereas usually, you get the humans discovering the apes. And I loved how it takes place in a setting that is kind of, shall we say, familiar to the original 60s, 70s films, but also, I think, a perfect progression of the story set forth in the Matt Reeves, Rupert Wyatt trilogy they made. So I thought the characters were all really good, but for me, like, I really loved Raka. He's like the new ape they introduced, the new orangutan that's like kind of like a, not a preacher, but he's trying to use the thoughts and feelings of Caesar and project them across the land and educate people what Caesar really wanted to advocate for. And I think what's one of the main elements of this film is like how you can twist the morals and the ideologies of huge figures, whether they're like messiahs or important political, religious figures in our society, how like their words can be misinterpreted many, many years later and used for the complete opposite in which they were used before. And this film deals a lot with that, how like Caesar's story from the original trilogy from well, the trilogy from the most recent trilogy, I shall say, how like this film kind of twists what Caesar stood for. And you have the character Proximus Caesar that is like this tyrant, this ruler that is trying to use Caesar's words and his ideologies and use it against the people under him. And he's creating the first kingdom in this new ape society. And as like Wes Ball says, like the original trilogy, the original Caesar trilogy, is the Stone Age. This is now the Bronze Age. So it's really, really interesting to see how they use history in a way to influence how the apes get to the way they are in the Caesar trilogy to the way they are in the 60s Planet of the Apes film. I think Freya Allen is like one of the only human characters in the movie, and she plays the character of May. She's excellent in the film. I loved her in The Witcher, and I really love her here. I do wish they gave her more to do. I think one of the things with this movie is that it very much feels like a part one to possibly a trilogy, and at times it kind of hurts it because as interesting as, say, like the new characters are, like Noah, like Raka, like Proxima Caesar, it does feel like this is just part one and we're going to learn more about them, as opposed to the last trilogy of Apes films where I felt like every single Apes movie stood on its own. And this doesn't exactly stand on its own. I think it has more of a cliffhanger-y type ending. But I also love how they call back to the OG 60s film, because there's a doll in the original 60s movie that there's a callback to that doll in this movie. And there's also callbacks to the themes. They play Jerry Goldsmith's Planet of the Apes score in this movie, which is really, really smart. And yeah, like, I think it's a really good movie. It has a lot of adventure and excitement and a lot of really, I think, amazing visual effects. The apes really have gone beyond into looking, as photorealistic as possible. And I also think that the world building of this whole piece is really stunning, because it almost feels like, if you think about some of these old movie trilogies, say like the Star Wars trilogy, they wrote an entire, I guess you could say, sequel trilogy of books, the Heir to the Empire series, where they continued the story. And in that case, it kind of feels like that, where this is now continuing the story of the Caesar trilogy and introducing a whole new era and generation of apes. And you learn about their culture and their clothing and their rite of passage with these birds and their eggs, and it's really well put together, and I think they worked really hard, and it shows on screen. So yeah, I recommend this film. It's really well made, and I think definitely one of my favorite films of the year. I will say that I do prefer the Caesar trilogy more than this one as of now, but it depends on where they go in the sequels to this, because I really want to see where they take these characters. But that being said, let me know what you think. Did you like Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes? Did you not? Let me know in the comments below. And thanks so much for watching. Have a great day, guys. Bye.